If someone had a gun and it was held to your head, okay, a squirt gun, pop gun, a Nerf gun, and they said, you're going to vote for one of the Democrats for President of the United States, one of those 5 people that were in that debate, who would it be? I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host.
I'm thinking. This is a squirt gun, right? Or a Nerf gun? Can I just say that just please shoot me? Please shoot me. I don't want to vote for any of them. If you saw the recent Democrat debate, then hopefully this will be of interest to you. If you did not see it, I encourage you to do so. Nowhere near as entertaining as the Republican debates. And partly it's because the folks at CNN, in my opinion, were far more interested in protecting those candidates, especially Hillary and a little bit Sanders, far more interested in protecting them than they were in causing them to fight amongst each other and have a real debate like they did with the Republicans, okay? You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be a news analyst like myself and others to look and say, this is so rigged. It's embarrassing, okay? And Anderson Cooper did a pretty good job. He tries to call balls and strikes. I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff, but of all the people at CNN, he's one of the best. Because he repeatedly said, when they were cheering for Hillary, he said, well, it plays well in this room, but it doesn't play well with a lot of voters in America. He said that on more than one occasion, which was an insult, a true insult. All right, now, I want to use this show to talk about 2 things, economics and guns, all right? So let's play this one clip, and then I want to step back and give you kind of an overarching view of biblical economics. Overarching, okay? Broad brush. First, play the clip.
You don't consider yourself a capitalist, though?
Do I consider myself part of the casino capitalist process by which so few have so much and so many have so little, by which Wall Street, greed and recklessness wreck this economy? No, I don't. I believe in a society where all people do well, not just a handful of billionaires.
All right, so here's Bernie Sanders being asked if he's a capitalist, and there was his response. And the problem with a really good deceiver is that there are elements of truth in what he or she says, all right? And Sanders is a socialist. Socialist communism, the premises are based upon lies. The lie being that the first purpose of government is the redistribution of wealth. That is not from above. That is not wisdom from above. It's wisdom from below. It's based upon covetousness, greed, sometimes laziness, sometimes a violation of the 5th commandment, honor your father and mother, or 4th, if you have a Roman Catholic breakdown of the 10 commandments. Quick rabbit trail, and then I'm going to focus on economics. Did you know that there's 2 different ways that the Christian world breaks down the 10 commandments? Anton Scalia, Supreme Court judge, did not know that. In one of the 10 Commandments cases that was before the Supreme Court, he did not realize that the Orthodox world, the Episcopalian world, has one way of breaking down the 10 Commandments. The Roman Catholic world has another. But I digress. So there are many of the commandments of God that are related to economics. Have you ever thought about that? The 4th commandment, 6 days shall you labor, and the 7th day rest. Paul said if a man doesn't work, he should not eat. Labor, work, is the first wall of defense against hunger. The hunger of the laborer drives him on, the proverb says, the Bible proverb. The 5th commandment, honor your father and mother, that your days may be long upon the land. That has to do with work. Because Jesus said, you violate the commandment of God to honor your tradition. You should be taking care of your parents in their old age. So he made a direct connection between the economic care of elderly parents by their children and the 5th commandment, honor your father and mother. You shall not steal, clearly. Theft is when you take the fruit of someone else's labor that you don't have a right to take. Okay? Wealth, goods, things that you might own, chattel property, real estate, these are all things that are the fruit, almost always, the fruit of labor. Someone's labor that they earned or that they left to someone inherited, the fruit of labor. You shall not steal. You shall not covet your neighbor's goods, his house, his servants, his wife. You can't covet the things that he has. All right? So a lot of the commandments deal with money and labor. And when Bernie Sanders said that quote, he touched a nerve because intuitively we look around us and go, yes, something is wrong. Something is wrong with this picture. When more and more Americans are working longer hours for less real money, and millionaires and billionaires who gamble on Wall Street or are involved in foreign corporations are getting richer and richer. There's something wrong here. When we come back from this break, I want to kind of start at square one with biblical premise on economics, and then let you call balls and strikes. Don't go away. Thanks to friends like you, we have state-of-the-art cameras and state-of-the-art teleprompters and state-of-the-art gear here in the studio. We have one big need, however. We have not yet been able to upgrade our computers. The computers that we use for a television broadcast or to create a documentary are not like the kind that you can just go buy at Best Buy. They are expensive because it takes so much horsepower to create TV series and or documentaries. So I'm asking you, if you want to see this show grow and you want to see us finish the What Would Muhammad Do series, help us get these computers. 3 computers that we need right now are going to be just shy of $20,000. That's the kind of horsepower that we need. Go to the GoFundMe page you see right there. Watch the pilot for What Would Muhammad Do? And if you like the show, give us a gift. Economic theory or economic principles. We do not live in a vacuum. Our children do not go to school, high school, college, and study in a vacuum. They are almost exclusively inheriting principles of economics from somewhere, okay? So when you pick up a book and it talks about redistribution of wealth, as if everyone knows this and everyone believes in this, you're reading the fruit of a Marxist worldview, okay? A philosophy on economics that involves everyone working and people just kind of having common ownership of land, of groceries, of whatever it is. There's more to it than that. I understand that. I'm broad brushing here, okay? With Christian economics, Christian theory, you have to start with the Bible, with the laws of God, and look especially in the first 5 books of the law, and then look in the prophetic books and look in the New Testament. Now, before I go a step further, I want to say something to friend and foe. I will take what God gave Moses and what was brought to us by our Lord Jesus Christ and all of God's servants that are recorded in the Old and New Testament. I will take their wisdom on economics and work and wealth and ownership of private property, ownership of real and chattel property, on all of it. I'll take their wisdom over anything that anyone on the planet has to offer. Okay? Rand Paul, Ron Paul, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Karl Marx, Mao Zedong. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. So you want to mock me or people like me, then have at it. Because the fool is who thinks that they are wiser than what God has given to us in Genesis through Revelation. That's the fool, not me. Well, those things are so outdated. You've never read them. You don't even know. You couldn't explain Christian economics or biblical economics if your life depended on it. If your life depended on it, you mocker. You could not explain the positions that people like me hold if your life depended on it. You don't know what honest money is. You don't know what fiat money is. You don't understand the distribution of real property. I'll give you a quick primer. When we hear Bernie Sanders make some, that felt good, by the way. Did you like that? That was like throwing it down. You know what I mean? You don't know what you're talking about. Just shut up and go away. I mean, smiling, of course. Go away smiling. But please shut up. Please stop talking, because you don't know what you're talking about. When you look at the scriptures, when the Jews were brought into the promised land, what was one of the first things that happened? Was wide distribution of real estate. You actually have to take time to read the books of the law, but there was wide distribution of real property. And every man got to sit under his fig tree with his sons and his daughters, with his own home, his own piece of dirt, his own real estate. And listen to this. If he got into tough times and he had to mortgage the property, he could get the property back, depending on the type of loan, the way the loan was structured, after 7 years or after 50 years. It would revert back to his family. He could never lose the property. His family could never lose the property. That was one of the ways that God ensured wide distribution of economic prosperity. Everyone had real property. The only people who could lose their property were people who lived inside of a walled city. If you lived inside of a walled city and you wanted to gamble and you wanted to try and make it big and then you lost it and your home inside of the walled city was mortgaged, you could lose that and it would actually go to the next person who got it, but not out in the country. So from square one, we see God in his goodness and in his kindness, ensuring that people would not be serfs. Okay? Government housing in America is a type of serfdom. It's literally a type of serfdom where you live in someone else's house, the government's house. Good grief, that's like Pharaoh in Egypt. If you look at ancient Egypt, when Joseph had the dream, or rather when Pharaoh had the dream and Joseph explained it to him, there was pretty wide distribution of real estate. And then, in order to take it all, Pharaoh said, we're going to gather in all of this food during the 7 years of plenty. And then when they were starving to death, they said, please feed us. And he said, fine, I'm taking your land and I'm moving you around and I'll give you food. That's how Pharaoh got all of the property. And then it became government housing everywhere. The whole country was made up of serfs. Contrast that with biblical wealth, the wide distribution of real estate. So you could have your own crops, you could have your own house, you could have your own fig tree. You could go to bed at night and cuddle up with your wife and put your kids to bed in a home that was yours. And there was no land taxes. In the Bible, you didn't pay tax on your land, so no one could ever take it from you. All right, just think, let the weight of that sink into your head. If we had that, how just that would be versus what we have now. I've got to take a break. I do. There's a clock ticking. I did not cut this deal with time. Time cut the deal with me. Christians must be involved in government, period. If Christians weren't involved in government, we would not have a United States of America. And there have been brilliant Christian minds over the centuries, such as John Locke, who is called the philosopher of American liberty. He was quoted by Clarence Thomas in his recent dissent on the homosexual marriage decision. If we don't understand John Locke, we don't understand the founding of America. I want to send you this book and my book, The Sword, subtitled The Blessing of Righteous Government and The Overthrow of Tyrants. I want to send you these two books for a gift of whatever you can afford. Pay the $8 shipping and handling, which does not cover our costs, and then give a gift of whatever size you want, and we'll send you these books. If you cannot afford anything but the $8, can't even afford that, write us a note, and we'll send them to you for free. I want you to have these books so that you can be better equipped to fight in the political arena. Come on, order them today. I'm sitting here in real time stressing out because there's so many things that I want to talk to you about in economics and the fallacies of socialism, and we don't have time. Please read books. I would encourage you, read books. Google, forgive me, don't use Google, use Bing or somebody else. Search the phrase real money, okay? Money, historically, biblically, is gold and silver, okay? Precious metals and precious stones. Something that is mined out of the earth and that you exchange for labor or the fruit of labor, okay? If I come and work for you in your garden, you're buying my labor. If I sell you a dresser that I made with my hands, you're buying the fruit of my labor. I made this dresser. So we don't have time to talk about it. We don't have time to talk about slavery. The sin that cries to heaven is withholding a man's just wages from him, which is about slavery. Here, I'll focus on one thing. Graduated income tax. You people down here who make this much pay zero income tax. You people who make this much pay this much income tax. That is from the pit of hell. Okay? It's straight out of the Marxist manifesto. The Communist Manifesto, rather, written by Karl Marx, calls for a graduated income tax. Who's got it exactly right? God. And what did God say about giving money to him? 10%. If you make $100, give 10. If you make $1 million, give 100,000. All right? Because that's what's just. How do you know it's just? Because that's what God said. You going to improve on God? Do you think you are smart enough to improve on God? I mean, think of how stupid that is. Really, think about it. I'm trying to help you get to the point where you're going to openly, publicly embrace, look, I'm really not even sure all that the Bible teaches and the Christian history is taught, but it's right. And whatever Karl Marx said that disagrees with this is wrong. And whatever Hillary and Rand Paul and Sanders and Donald Trump, whatever any of them say that is out of sync with this, then it's wrong. I'm going to have to tell you one other thing, and then I'm going to take a break and deal with guns in the Democratic debate. There is a hierarchy of good and evil in the scriptures and in Christian theology, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not. Some sins are worse than others. Some duties are higher than others, okay? The Bible does not say, honor your neighbor so that you may have long life. It says, honor your mother and father so that you may have long life. There's a difference in the relationship. You understand? So there are certain sins, like the sin of child killing, shedding of innocent blood. That's the worst sin on the planet. They're not all evil. They're not all equal, people. You steal a loaf of bread or a stick of gum, it's not the same as ripping a baby apart in his mother's womb. It's not. So the first sin that cries out to God for judgment is killing and shedding innocent blood, murder. The next is sodomy, homosexual acts, which they're now enshrining and calling it marriage. So part of the problem that we have in the Christian community today, and then I'll take a quick break, is we want to look at money. Well, who's going to give my kids more education? Right? We're falling prey to socialism, and we're not even having the hierarchy of what matters to God. I mean, do you hear this? Well, what will he give me? I know his hands are dripping with blood. He just chopped a little bunch of babies to pieces, but didn't he say that he would put Johnny through high school and college? Please, wash your hands off. I want to talk to you about Johnny in college. Friend, this TV show represents a mission. It's to be a voice of resistance to the evil in the land, but also to inspire people like you to take a stand at any level that you might be able to equip you, to inspire you, to challenge you, to give you the rhetorical ammunition that you need. But we still have to pay bills. This program, as you know if you're a regular viewer, we don't spend a lot of time raising money. We don't spend a lot of time saying, oh, you need to buy this and we're going to run. No, we're bringing you a message, but we still have bills that we need to pay. I'm asking you, if you have been blessed by this show, to please go to our website or send a check to the address you see on the screen or call the phone number that you see on the screen and use your credit card and to give $50 or $100 or $500 just to help us meet our normal expenses. And we'll keep bringing you this hard-hitting show. All right, I've only got a little time, and this is where I'm really going to focus on honing your logic. Play this tape, please.
I think that we have to look at the fact that we lose 90 people a day from gun violence. This has gone on too long, and it's time the entire country stood up against the NRA. The majority of our country... I voted against it. I was in the Senate at the same time. It wasn't that complicated to me. It was pretty straightforward to me that he was going to give immunity to the only industry in America. Everybody else has to be accountable, but not the gun manufacturers. And we need to stand up and say enough of that. We're not going to let it continue.
We're going to bring you. We can raise our voices, but I come from a rural state. And the views on gun control in rural states are different than in urban states, whether we like it or not.
Senator, it was not about rural. Senator, it was not about rural and urban.
Exactly about
Have you ever been to the Eastern Shore? Have you ever been to Western Maryland? We were able to pass this and still respect the hunting traditions of people who live in our rural areas. And we did it, Anderson, by leading with principle, not by pandering to the NRA and backing down to the NRA.
Voting record,
and I have an F for
I don't
the
think
NRAs.
I am.
All right. First of all, let's talk about Hillary. They're the only manufacturer that is not... No, that's not true, Hillary. If somebody deliberately mows me down with their car, they kill me with their car, are we going to hold the auto manufacturer responsible? What she's saying is a lie. If I choke on Cheerios, is General Mills going to be held responsible? It's absurd what she's saying. And by the way, O'Malley, I despise this guy. Of all the people on the stage, I despise him the most. But anyway, we've honored the hunting traditions. Excuse me, Governor, do some reading. Read the Second Amendment, read history, read Thomas Jefferson, George Washington. We don't have the Second Amendment for hunting traditions, okay? We have it for self-defense and to, if need be, defend ourselves against our own government, and if need be, overthrow our government. You'd still be singing God Save the Queen, Mr. Governor, if it wasn't for the fact that Thomas Jefferson and George Washington understood that they needed guns to fight their own government. Play that other clip.
Your rating from the NRA, you once had an A rating from the NRA. You said gun violence goes down when more people are allowed to carry guns. Would encouraging more people to be armed be part of your response to a mass shooting?
Look, there are two fundamental issues that are involved in this discussion, and we need to pay respect to both of them. The first is the issue of who should be kept from having guns and using firearms. And we have done not a good job on that. A lot of them are criminals, and a lot of the people who are getting killed are members of gangs inside our urban areas, and a lot of them are mentally incapacitated. And the shooting in Virginia Tech in 2007, this individual had received medical care for mental illness from 3 different professionals who were not allowed to share the information. So we do need background checks. We need to keep the people who should not have guns away from them. But we have to respect the tradition in this country of people who want to defend themselves and their family from violence.
Senator?
There are people are going back and forth here for 10 minutes here. There are people at high levels in this government who have bodyguards, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The average American does not have that and deserves the right to be able to protect their family.
All right. This was the one bright spot. The one guy on the stage at least got it right on foreign policy and on Second Amendment was Webb. And Hillary, with her smirk, oh, heaven help me. By the way, Webb's talking about her and others. She's got around-the-clock protection. Big, strong guys with guns, all right? Multiple guns, semi-automatic guns, fully automatic guns, pistols, long guns, guns in their socks, okay? She's such a flaming hypocrite. God gave you the right to defend yourself. And she cries about 90 people a day being killed by guns. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible, all right? 3,300 babies a day are being butchered with her permission. And she's got people with guns. Maybe I don't even want to make that joke about mothers having guns and freedom of choice. It's just too dark. Friend, learn how to think logically. If you're doing it already, keep doing it. Look for where they're doing a bait and switch. And And then thank heavens for someone like Jim Webb to point out the obvious. They have guards. What are we, chopped liver? We can't defend ourselves and our families too?